described as those that spend less than 20% of their revenue on personnel cost.
On food?
On personnel cost, on running the government, on paying salaries. Significantly, the majority of states spend almost all of their money on salaries. But apart from IGR, because it just seems that it's only Lagos that seems to understand how to generate revenue. Now, there are lots of arguments, perhaps proximity to the port, but all those are excuses. On October 16, 1975, let's move away from excuses. New York City had also faced similar problems. They were close to bankruptcy. The governments, the federal, the presidency, did not bail them out. President Gerald Ford had been approached for some money, but he didn't give them any money. He told them to come up with ideas, and then they came up with how to bail themselves out using pension funds. Several historians refer to 1975 in New York as the birth of innovation. So we need to ask ourselves, how innovative are the states? How innovative and how creative are they as well? Now, a popular French thinker, André Gide, has said that you do not discover new lands without consenting to first lose sight of the shore for a very long time. And so, are the leaders in the states willing to lose sight of the shore and get to the new land? New challenges? It doesn't look like it.
Was there anything that you found in terms of what they could do? The IGR, definitely not static. The IGR is increasing as time goes on, yet they still have challenges.
IGR is increasing, you're right, but population is rising much faster. That's one. And the second is the value of the naira is also depreciating. So even though the quantum of the IGR seems to be improving, the value, what the IGR will be able to purchase, the amount that is required by the states to spend to improve standard of living, that they require to spend on health care.
Yeah, because, pardon me, many of those states also had an embargo on employment in the civil service, so their costs for personnel doesn't seem to be rising, is it?
Some of those states, the cost for personnel is rising because there are lots of arrears. So even though they are not employing, there are promotions.
And then when people retire as well,
there are pensions that need to be paid. And all of that creates tension in the system. It's similar to tension between good and evil that we've talked about before.
And then we're not even talking about adding the perks that the governors take when they leave office.
A lot of that is still...
Is that significant in any way? Does it affect that income significantly?
It does. Because civil servants earn pensions. Civil servants will retire. And a lot of civil servants are old.
What about the potential that these states actually have?
The potential hasn't been fully exploited, and I'll tell you why. Not too long ago, you might have heard of the story of a journalist that had asked a businessman that, what was the secret to his success? And this businessman had said two words, and those two words were right decisions. And then the journalist asked him again, how do you make right decisions? How do you make right decisions? And he said only two words as well, by making wrong decisions. How do you make wrong decisions based on experience? And so we need to ask ourselves, yes, we want to improve the condition of each of the states, but how many state governments, or how many leaders within the states, especially the governors, have admitted to making wrong decisions? And without making wrong decisions, how do they get the experience? And if they don't get the experience, how do they make the right decision? So sometimes the indicator to understand why there's so much challenges is to look at the papers, and all you see is the leaders admitting to making the right decisions, always the right decisions. Always the right decisions. And because we always make right decisions, we have no experience. We have no experience of making wrong decisions. And so we don't get better. And so one solution as well is for leaders to publicly start admitting to making wrong decisions, because then we will know that they are learning, and then they will try new things.
So from a look of things, if the resources or the oil revenue were to dwindle further, there will be a lot more strangulation in the states.
There will be. Let's look at two figures. In 2015, the total amount of money that was earned from all the states, IGR, 680 billion naira. How much money did these states collect from the federation account? Just the states, without looking, even considering the local governments, 1.7 trillion naira. And so that's where the money is. And what that also does is that it gives the center so much power. Because the center understands that if it holds you by that place, you will scream.
All right, we'll look at the local government maybe a little further in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now that local governments, some of them seem to be agitating for some autonomy, how feasible financially is that?
And so let's look at the primary source of revenue for the local governments, the FAC account as well. And let's understand how it is distributed. So the federal government still earns approximately 53% of funds from FAC. The state governments then collects 27%. So federal government 53, state governments 27, and then local governments collect 20%. Seems like they collect the crumbs. But that's just half of the picture. Here's the full picture. So with the state governments, only 36 states collecting 27%. They've got a challenge. 36 states collecting 27%, they've got a challenge. Now look at 774 mini states that we call local governments collecting only 20%. So the final analysis is the agitation for more funds to go into the local governments will perhaps continue for the next 10 decades. But we finally need to realize that sometimes the solutions to these problems are bitter. Sometimes the cure could be worse than the disease. But nevertheless, we still need to go for the cure. We need to bite the bullet.
What will it take to turn this tide, do you think?
We need to just be more innovative. That's the key word, innovation. The states need to examine the potential to earn higher revenue among those that live within the states.
Do you think they have the ideas? Do you think they have the idea to do that?
The evidence today, based on the results we've seen, when the states, Lagos earns 268 billion, more than 32 states combined, it makes you ask and wonder, what are these other 32 states doing? Are they states?
You said they should bite the bullet.
We need to bite the bullet.
And maybe no more that they can chew. All right, Babajide Ogunsanwo, our data and information analyst, thank you for coming on this morning.